আসসালামু আলাইকুম। চ্যাম্পিয়ন্স ট্রফিতে বাংলাদেশের যে অবস্থা আমরা দেখতে পেয়েছি, এই অবস্থায় বাংলাদেশের ওডিআইয়ের বর্তমান ফর্ম নিয়ে কিংবা সামগ্রিক বিষয় নিয়ে আসলে অনেক বেশি সমালোচনা হচ্ছে, অনেক বেশি কথা হচ্ছে। সাবেক ক্রিকেটার থেকে শুরু করে ক্রিকেট অনুরাগী সকলেই এই বিষয়ে কথা বলছেন। এই যে তালিকা থেকে বাদ যাননি বাংলাদেশ ক্রিকেট দলের সাবেক টিম অ্যানালিস্ট মহসিন শেখ, তিনি অনফিল্ডের সাথে একান্ত আলাপচারিতায় আসলে জানিয়েছেন বাংলাদেশের ক্রিকেটের কোন কোন জায়গাগুলো নিয়ে তিনি প্রবলেম দেখছেন। এর আগে প্রথম পর্ব আপনারা দেখেছেন, দ্বিতীয় পর্বে থাকছে আরো বিস্তারিত।
What I want to particularly uphold a point that on that particular time, 2015 or around that particular time, the senior players of Bangladesh were performing really well. It mentioned 𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏, then Mashrafi, Mushfiq, and Mahmudullah. But do you reckon that they were playing against some minor teams as well, like Zimbabwe or Ireland on that particular time? Afghanistan was not playing that well, but our senior players were all targeting them to just perform better and better. They played all the series. Even we have an example that we didn't let Mustafiz play IPL, Shakib play IPL just for Zimbabwe series or Ireland series. Do you reckon that harms Bangladesh cricket or not?
I think so. I think if I worked with Afghanistan for 2 years before Bangladesh as well, and if you look at Afghanistan's progress, they are actually progressing quite well. One reason is obviously they have a freedom to go and express their skills in other leagues as well. There are two things obviously. If it is clashing with your domestic or some tournaments, then or some high priority series, then of course they shouldn't be allowed. But if it is not clashing with any of the high profile series or with your domestic cricket, these players should be allowed to go and express their skills in other leagues. You're not only expressing yourself in those leagues, you're learning as well. So that is the massive thing. If you look at Rishad from T20 World Cup from America, the way he's risen in international cricket, he was in high demand in all the other leagues, including Big Bash in Australia. He has not played single game in any other country. He has not given the opportunity to go and express himself. He would have played here in Australia, even if you allow him to play just before the BPL, that was 15, 20 days. He would have come here, played 4 or 5 games, like any other internationals who came here and played Big Bash and then went to ILT or SAT20. Rishad would have done the same thing. He should have played in Australia, learned the art to bowl in different conditions, different players, different skill set. Canada as well. There was nothing in that time. He should have played in Canada and other leagues. So those skill set are only going to improve. Look at Rashid Khan now. His skill set is so much improved. He's got nearly 200 one-day wickets, and he's still young. So you want to explore the opportunities that are available to your players to go and express themselves outside. And at that era, you look at Shakib played IPL, Fizz played IPL, Mushi played IPL, Litton played IPL. A lot of those guys actually were allowed to go and express themselves in a bigger stage. And that brings a lot of learning for their skill set.
Right, but the fact of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, or other senior players of Indian cricket who are not playing that series against Zimbabwe or West Indies or even other countries like Ireland, who are particularly new to the cricket circuit or that senior circuit. But our senior players are playing all the series against that team. But my point is, would they have given the chance to the younger players to play the series and get settled in the international arena or not? They could have done that.
100%, I agree with you. 100%. You should have given those so-called weaker opposition series to those players who you think they are going to be your future. As I mentioned, a couple of names, your Parvez, Imam, you got your Shamim Petwaris, all those guys, even Naeem Sheikh, we had a fantastic BPL as well. So those guys who are your next players in line, you should expose them to international cricket at every opportunity you get. Bring them out, take them to A tours. We only had 1 or 2 A tours in last year. So, that was even in Australia, but that played against the club side. So you need to have a proper A tours in and outside so you can get used to get your next lot ready to be playing or exposed to the international cricket.
Well, particularly, let's get back to the status. You mentioned your third point was zero merit.
দেশ জুড়ে তোলপাড় ওয়ালজ এন্ড ফ্রিজ কিনে আপনিও হয়ে যেতে পারেন মিলেনিয়ার।
Yeah, again, that for merit, if you are getting anything, it goes from the top right to the bottom. If you are not looking after the merit, then the situations like this happens. If the merit is your core criteria, then you would actually go, okay, what is my criteria to make sure that the merit is not compromised, whether it is players, whether it is youngsters, whether it is management, whether it is anyone. The merit is the top priority. If the merit is getting killed, then you would actually make up a team, you would actually make up whoever in the management, you make up things, you try and do a sticky tape solution. That's what I call sticky tape solution, where you just find, okay, well, Litton is dropped, what do we do? Okay, so we have got no other solution. We've got Zakir Ali, he's young and upcoming. Whether can he keep? Can we bring him into keeping, give him a learning curve? Obviously, you can, because then who's next? Oncon, for example, in BPL, fantastic year. The guy can hit big ball. So you start investing on those players who are actually on merit. So you can go, okay, well, if I'm going to take two keeper, who are my two keeper? And Mushi could still go as a batter. But you start investing in those merited positions where you go, who are the guys that can get me that last 10 overs. Even if you look at the modern day one-day cricket, last 10 overs, you still right to score 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus. Good teams are scoring hundreds. Bangladesh and Pakistan scoring 60 runs in last 10 overs. That is 90s, 2000, early 2000s cricket. We're not going to win many games if you're going to have that kind of mindset. And the guys that I've mentioned, both Zakir Ali, Oncon, they're six hitters. Shamim Patwari, they're your finishers. They are six hitters. You allow them to swim in difficult situations. Give them 7, 8, 9, 10 games. They will be fine. They will fail in few games, but that's your future. So you rather invest in your future and don't kill the merit. Don't kill the merit. Stick to the merit, whether it is from top, whether it is to the right to the team. It has to be merited.
Well, if we were talking about investing on the merit, do you reckon that we do hurry in case of making any particular under 19 player or age level player debuting in the international circuit? My point is, everybody in the cricket world now know that Shubman Gill is the number one batter, Harry Brook is in the second in test ranking or something like that, and
Yeah.
other bunches of cricketers who are in that batch of under 19 are really doing well now. But at that particular time, Afif was the second most high run getter on that particular tournament. But I don't think so that he's very well recognized as a cricketer in the outside of the cricketing arena of Bangladesh or that subcontinent. So, do you reckon that we were not?
That's absolute valid point. If you want to give someone a chance at certain batting position, or you think that role that you're giving him, you got to give him an all-out backing. So if, for example, if you're giving a FIFA role as a middle order batter, so if he's batting at 4, you got to give him few games, not just few games, actually more than few games at number 4. I'm just using that as an example. Whatever number you want him to play, you give him an all and out support. And then if he's exhausted that, then you go to the next batter. But you can't just bring him for 2 games, then drop him for 3 games, then bring him for another game, bat him at 3. With my 3 years coming into Bangladesh, I've seen him bat at 3. I've seen him open the batting. I've seen him bat at 6. I've seen him bat at 7, 5. So then what happens is the newcomer coming into the team, he does not know what role he's performing. So anyone coming into the team, like now you have a role for Vidoy. He's batting at number 4. That's the role for him. And look at him. Once he knows, once he understands the role, he will start scoring hundreds. He scored his first 100 batting at 4. Now you stick with that. So that is how you actually give any youngster coming in, you give him a role. That is your role. If you bring Shamim Patwari in, you give him a role of batting last 10 overs or last 15 overs. He will come in 5 or 6. That is his role. So you stick with a role definition with the batter, give him that freedom to express himself for a long time. If he fails, then you know that, yep, he's not your international material. Then you move on. But you can't give anyone a role to go, I'll bat him 1, I'll bat him 3, I'll bat him 5, I'll just make shift. So if you make shift in international cricket these days, especially when you're getting exposed to a stronger opposition, every team has the analyst, as you know. They will work out your strengths, they will work out your weaknesses. But when you are actually comfortable with your mindset that you have a certain role to play, then that other noise in your mind, it just cancelled. And then you carry on with your game. And Afif is a talented player. I've had him for the last 3 BPLs. He's a talented player. And I believe he's got a role to play. But you got to give that confidence into your players that you have a certain role to play and you play that role.